Welcome back to Social Club. Paul and the boys aren't here this week. They're over in the States, so we're taking up the mantle of Social Club.
They're not on holiday. They are working.
Working so hard.
Working
so hard. So joining me is Flav from the Fighting Cock and just as his favourite player, Marwan Fellaini. Elliot from Barefit TV.
That joke.
We need to do a separate video on
my hair.
We're going to do something for Rue de Blonde. If you haven't seen it, it comes out every Friday.
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it, Flav?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Best thing on bullshit.
Has it got a new name yet?
Not yet.
That will be revealed on Friday.
Cheers, Al. Good promotion.
You can come back.
So let's talk about what could be the most chaotic, the messiest, the biggest transfer deadline day of all time. The reason we want to talk about this is just because we're right in the middle of it now, and there's a lot of sort of cat and mouse going on, and the pressure to spend and the amount of money to spend is making it kind of a little bit dead at the moment. I mean, I know you guys have bought a couple of players today, but the Pogba thing's running on and on. In previous years, we've seen it happen before, and it's all going down this road where teams have got to spend a lot of money, but teams are waiting for a lot of money, and it could be crazy, couldn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah. You do typically in the transfer market have lulls in activity, and some clubs will do a little bit of business early on, and then, especially when there's an international competition, it causes problems in getting deals through the door, so to speak. But we're sort of got a perfect storm at the moment because of the amount of money in the game coming in from TV revenue. We had a similar situation 3 years ago when the last deal, I think it was 3 years ago, when the last deal came in. There is so much money, and there's so many clubs abroad wanting to sell to the Premier League because it's selling to the richest market. They'll overpay for players because really money's no object for most teams in the Premier League. So we're heading towards a situation where if lots of clubs don't start getting business done, there's going to be an absolute mental ending to this transfer window. And you're talking, what is it, 5 weeks, 6 weeks to the end, and there's a lot of business yet to be done.
Just, I guess, to go through the numbers, £5 billion in the new deal. God, I wish QPR stayed up. I could have had a chunk of that. So each team's probably got about 81 million quid to spend. Last season, 1.4 billion was spent. And that's before, obviously, this deal. 46 million quid going to agents, which we won't talk about. And even in January, 175. Do you remember how boring?
We spent the most in January.
You did, yes.
On one player.
In Bula.
But do you remember how boring that transfer window was?
Yeah.
And there was still 175 million quid spent.
We left that till the
Crazy.
last day.
But think of it like the end of the month after payday, and it's been 4 weeks since you've been paid. It's that kind of thing. You know, the money's short. They know all the money's going to be spent. There's no point blowing your balls.
At the minute,
Right.
It's just a merry-go-round. Like we've signed Ramadan Sabi, which is an Egyptian record transfer, is 5 or 6 million today. Waiting on Joe Allen, he's doing his medical. That's going to be another 13 million. And then we put a bid in for Berahino, which would have been 20 million, which has been rejected, which would have been smashing our transfer record for the third window in a row. Like, it's just never stopping. And the funny situation that's going on at the minute is we're waiting. We're trying to get this deal through with West Brom, which they've now rejected it, but they're waiting to sign a striker off West Ham. They want Sacco. West Ham are throwing 30 million or however much it is at every striker they can. And it's just like this pyramid.
That's another addition to it, is that there will be that domino effect. I think you were saying about Gareth Bale, there was that problem.
Yeah, so Spurs would try to. They accepted very early on that Bale wanted to go to Real Madrid, and they were trying to drag it on as long as possible because they knew Real Madrid were waiting to sell Ozil to Arsenal. And Spurs tried to engineer it in a situation where if we wait long enough, that deal won't be able to go ahead before there won't be enough time essentially to push that through. So Bale went on the last day and Ozil moved to Arsenal on the last day, and you can imagine what a especially bad day that was for me. But you know, there will be a lot of that as well. So again, you wait for this kind of the flap of a butterfly's wing in order to create this cataclysmic
Yeah, I'll let you do that one.
Cataclysmic effect that ultimately that suddenly these deals just started getting done left, right, and centre.
But
you're talking. Sorry, just go back to 81 million, right? That's 81 million just from the TV deal, right? But that doesn't count for all of the revenue that the clubs are making as well, and players sold. So 81 million. You were talking about if Berahino went through, would have been what 20 mil. So it'd been 40 in total, approximately. That's nothing. You've still got another 40 million to spend if you want to.
But
plus the money you have in your transfer.
Another reason why is that pressure cooker of that is going to just get even more and more intense as you get further along the transfer window is the fact that there's so much money going on.
A club at the minute where, speaking of intense and fans and pressure, Everton have had this takeover and they've still not signed. I don't think they've signed anyone.
No, I don't think so. No.
And the fans are just on at the club, on Twitter, on social media, on wherever, on at them like sign someone.
Well, that's it, and don't kill me for this, but their last season they were a mid-table club. There's pressure on you to break your record there, and then that's before we even talk about those so-called bigger clubs that have got managers like Guardiola, Mourinho, Conte, Klopp in their first summer, and they need to stamp their authority. They've got to hit the ground running. They've got to hit the ground running because there's only 4 places up for grabs in the Champions League. They've got the money to spend. They need to spend that money as well, and so the rest of the European leagues must be licking their lips, right?
Yeah, of course. They're just waiting. They're waiting, and the longer they wait, the more they get for their money. You think Lacazette's going 40 million or something's been mooted now. Beginning of the transfer window, Spurs were linked with 18, 19 million. So in that space of time, it's doubled his value. That will go up again, another 20 million by the end of the season, end of the summer, and it wouldn't be surprised me if he goes for 55, 60 million if Arsenal get desperate. Just one last thing to go on.
No, go on, Fab.
Well, just one last bit about Everton going back, right? They are probably not in a position where they have to sign that many players. They had an underperforming squad last year. Martinez did horrendously bad with a very talented bunch of players. If Koeman comes in and galvanises that team, they only need a couple in order to kick on and challenge for the Champions League, in my opinion. The fans' position, and this goes across the board, and this shows really how, second video in a row saying how idiotic fans are. But
stop doing that.
I don't care, it's the truth, and I include myself in it, right? Is that we don't know what it takes to run a football club.
Yeah.
Most of us don't understand tactics in the way the managers do. And the only thing we really understand is the fact that buying players is possible. And surely those players who don't play for Everton or don't play for Tottenham are better than the ones we've got now, when probably finding players that will come to Everton that are better than that we've got is a very difficult thing without paying an absolute fortune. So that just doesn't happen. So fans just go, well, sign players. I just want to sign someone. Arsenal fans are the worst.
Yeah,
Robbie,
they are.
They are. You just listen to Robbie. He's just like, so we've got to sign a striker. We've got to sign. Giroud is a good striker.
It's not just Robbie, is it?
No. I'm just talking about because we've talked about it.
He goes catching him in Pokeballs as well.
You found him on Pokemon as well.
But it's what I'm saying is that, like Robbie does it as well, and but the Arsenal fans are kind of have history. Where's our players? It isn't as simple as just signing footballers. You've got to find a player that's better than the ones you have. And if you want to sign someone who's better than Giroud, you have to pay a fortune.
Yeah, but
absolute fortune.
That adds a...
So hang on, sorry. So one last thing while I'll stop this rant, right? You have to pay a fortune. So would you just want to go and flippantly spend that fortune? Or you've got to spend time calculating exactly who's going to be the striker that could win us the league. And then they're going to pay 70 million, 60 million pound for him. So trust these people to run your football club correctly.
I guess the Arsenal fans will say they've had about 7 years to sort that out. Like, have you not just go for it? Just go for someone.
Yeah.
But that adds to the pressure. Look, you can see Flavs in bits with the pressure of fans having to spend money. But the thing is, there is a massive pile there for them all to spend. So
but everyone's got the money.
Fans want it to happen.
It's inflation. Players, you have to spend a lot more money, so you've got to be a lot more careful. There's been a lot of talk.
Is it not so be it then? Is it not one of those, well, okay?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, it's just keep rising and rising. And now you see it dripping into the other leagues as well. I mean, Premier League's got the biggest TV deal by far compared to Spain, Italy. But now you see, Pogba's going to United or Real Madrid. Looks more likely United, but they can afford to throw, 100 million to Juve. But Juve are already spending on it. They've brought Higuain for a ridiculous amount. They've brought Pjanic from Roma, and it's like
Arsenal
a monopoly.
Should have bought Higuain.
Why didn't they?
They should have.
I don't know. Maybe it was because they had to pay 100 million.
It's creating a monopoly effect in other leagues as well. And Juve are now, Juve are going to absolutely cakewalk that league next season. They brought Pjanic from the closest rival. They brought Higuain from the team who finished second in the league. Like they're just going to roll it over next year.
Well, ultimately, all this comes down to, as ever, is who can spend the most amount of money and who can pay the most amount in wages. Leicester, they had a good. It was amazing what they did last season, but
it's never happening again.
It probably will never happen again. And
Don't
ultimately, it's about how much you can spend.
Don't say that.
It's how much you can spend in wages. Ultimately, that it comes down to. And there's tons and tons and tons of money in the Premier League at the moment.
And it's shown that they've lost, one of the best players from a money move, Chelsea. That's what it comes down to. Money talks.
Bit depressing, isn't it? There you go. You know, also I was a bit excited about the money that's going to be thrown around, and now it's a bit.
I'll tell you what, it makes
depressing.
it much harder for QPR to ever return to the Premier League
Right,
and do well. So you not only should be depressed about
You do
football
the sign
generally,
off. You do the sign off, mate.
depressed
I don't
at
want
your
to,
own football club.
Yeah, wrap it up, will you?
All right, this has been a social club. I'm a bit depressed as well. Actually, tell us what you think.
I'm not worth spending money.
Tell us what you think. Is the money in football crazy? Are we all doomed to years and years and years of the success?
Why have you got to go this way? Right, get it. Look, are you looking forward to the transfer deadline day? Ball Street will probably be doing something really interesting and fun. There's going to be loads of money thrown around. We all like Championship Manager. It's a bit like that. So look forward to it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Tell us what you think about the amount of money and which out of the managers under pressure do you think is doing the best so far, maybe in the transfer window, and which one are you worried about? Let us know that in the comments below. And stay tuned for more of Social Club. Oh, and subscribe as well. Do that as well.